What's up everyone, David here. Hope you guys are having a great day. In this video, I'm gonna try to answer some of the most common questions about mixing with analog gear, hardware insert, all this stuff. So let's get to it. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixPlus TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for free plugin special discounts and offers. Go to mixbusstv.com to book mix and mastering with me and to find all the mix and mastering courses. We have a brand new one. Producing and mixing vocals. Everything you need to know to get professional sounding vocals. In there you can also book private lessons and mix consultations. If you want to access the exclusive videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixPlus TV member, get all the perks. And if you haven't already, check out Gallica's new single Felony, available on all platforms. And also you have two videos here on YouTube, the original version and the alternate version featuring Ryan Shuck. Finally, if the videos are helping you, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch, support the channel. A couple of days ago, I finished this mix for a client. The artist's name is Dead Wonder. The song is called The First of the Season. A really cool EDM pop song, we can say in somewhat the style of Chainsmokers. And I posted the mix down video on Instagram, and a lot of people started asking me questions about hybrid mixing. But I also got a lot of questions about hardware insert, ins and outs, how do I manage mixing with all this hardware? And so I thought I could break this down and try to answer the most common questions. Granted that most likely I'm gonna be turning this full mix into a mixing course for EDM and pop. So I'm not gonna break the mix here. The song is not even out yet, so we're gonna wait for that. But I will go through the hardware inserts that I have for each element in a mix. And I will try to give an idea for the people who are not familiar with hybrid mixing. What do you need and how does it work? Especially because there are a couple of questions that are quite recurring. So people keep asking about these two things. One, why do you need all these compressor and EQs and saturators? Why can't you print things one at a time? And two, how do you deal with the inputs and outputs? Because many people say, I have 8 inputs and outputs and I ran out. Well, we'll try to answer all these questions and more in the video. So let's start by breaking the session and the hardware inserts that we have here. All right, so this was a 60-ish tracks. We start, as you can see, if I play the mix and we go and take a look, all right, we have all this rack going here. So NG, SSL, the tape emulators, RIA, and then we go up to the desk. We got the HG2, and then we go here on this bay, we got the distressors. We go here, we got the 2BQ, we got the governor that was going a second ago, and we have also the 78, and the RSC. So we have a lot of gear going on. So the first question is always, why can't you, let's say, have only one distressor, right, or one fatso and print things? We can't print things because all the tracks, everything that has a piece of hardware on as an insert needs to play in real time through the machine. So let's say in this case I have one SSL EQ on the kick and one on the snare. I need 2 of them, right? And then the second insert that we have is on the drum bus, right? The drum bus has the API 5500 and the SSL compressor. So these are daisy chained through the patch bay. So this is another thing, is another question that we need to answer. If I have 2 pieces of hardware on the drum bus, the API and the SSL, how do I do it? Do I go out from the DAW, go inside the EQ, and then back into the DAW, so Pro Tools, and then outside again into the SSL? Absolutely not. When we mix hybrid analog, we try to minimize the ADDA conversions, the ADDA trip, right? So we handle multi-inserts like this, not by opening 2 insert slots in Pro Tools, but we use a patch bay. In my case, we use the Flock patch bay, which is at the bottom, which we can take a look at the screen right now. It's here. So I can digitally move all my hardware pieces without the need to actually have cables. And the Flock patch bay actually does presets and recalls. So I don't even need to remember what I had on the 2 bus. I just open the session and the hardware inserts are already routed the way they are supposed to be. So we have the kick drum going out in the SSL EQ, the snare going out in the SSL EQ, the whole drum is going out to the API and the SSL. They need to go, because I'm mixing in real time, they need to go at the same time. The next slot that we have is on the bass. On the bass we have the RSC compressor, the Vari Mu, which right now the song is not playing, but we can see the gain reduction happening. And then the insert after that is on the synth lead, and it's right here at the bottom. And we can see I'm moving it right now. The Stam 78 is on the synth. And then we have on the synth group, the RIA, which is on the other side. This one stays on the synth group. So there's, let's say, 6 tracks of synths. They all go through a summing bus, and this one is on that summing bus. So again, you understand that I have multiple pieces on the same elements, which is constructed by several tracks. And some have insert on their own, some have insert on the summing bus, and some have both, like in this case. Next insert that we have on this mix is the vocals. Now, the vocals is interesting because this is one common question, right? If you have multiple vocals, why can't you print them? This is a great example because if we take a look here, we can see it goes through the Gain Lab Audio governor compressor, right? And this is the lead vocal in the verse. So the interesting thing is that when the hook comes in, the lead vocal is not on this compressor anymore. So I use 2 different compressors for the lead vocals based on different sections. The hook vocal started, and we can see that now the lead vocal, which is split in 2 tracks, goes to the distressor in the chorus. Here, the fatso is also going, and these are the doubles, left and right. You see why we have all these? Because all these vocals needs to go at the same time. It would be unthinkable for me to try to set up the governor for the verse and then print it, and then print the distressor. And if I have to change something, I have to go back and change the setting and reprint. Imagine doing this for 60 tracks, all right? I don't have hardware insert on everything, but I probably have a good 24 inserts. That would be unthinkable because the mix evolves and you adjust things in real time, just like you would do while you're mixing in the box, right? So imagine every time you have to change something on your Pro Q3, you have to print it, and then you move something on the kick or the synths or the bass, and the mix changes, you need to tweak that. You need to unfreeze or go back to the original track, tweak it again, and print it again. That's not how it works. So the hardware insert actually works exactly one-to-one like plugins. That's why they're called hardware inserts. They literally take the same space in the slot in Pro Tools. Instead of going inside and outside the plugin, they go in and out the piece of hardware, all right? In this case, the lead vocals is split in 2 parts because the verse is very different from the hook. And so I needed 2 different compressors to give the right feeling and the right vibe. And then we have the 2 bus, the mix, right? So what hardware insert we have on the mix? On the mix, in this case, there's the 542 tape emulators right here. And then you can see the mix going. Actually, before that, they go into the black box analog, black box HG2. From here, they go into the tape emulators for the tape bump. And then after that, the tape emulators go into the SSL Fusion with the HF limiter in, and the SSL Fusion in insert has the PQ, which I didn't use for this mix. After the PQ, we go into the NG bus compressor, and after the NG bus compressor, we go into the spacecraft, and out of the spacecraft, I'm capturing my mix with the Dangerous 80 Plus. So all the individual inserts go out at the same time, and then they go back in, and then the mix, they are routed to each one to their respective group, and then all the groups are routed to the 2 bus, and the 2 bus goes into the 2 bus chain, and then we print it, we capture it, we actually re-record it in real time with the Dangerous 80 Plus. So there's no offline bouncing, there's no other way to print your mix other than print it, just like we would do with tape. There's no difference other than the tape. It's Pro Tools, and you know, the tape machine is the 80 Plus in this case. And this 2-bus chain, some pieces are daisy chained, so they are always connected one to another because I don't use them anywhere else. Like for example, the HG2 and the 542s, I always use them on the 2-bus. I don't need them on the patch bay to move them around. But other pieces that I could have or could need on the 2-bus, like actually, for example, I do have the NG 2BQ. This is not daisy chained in the 2-bus because sometimes I need it on vocals, sometimes I need it on the mix, sometimes I need it on something else. So through the Flock patch bay, this is the 2-bus chain that has several slots available just in case I want to drag something in. Right now has the 2BQ patched in my 2-bus because for this mix I needed it here. So again, we don't go in and out a bunch of times. Every time we have a piece of hardware, we manage the multi-insert outside in the analog world, so we don't do multiple passes in the ADDA. So another thing that I noticed just looking at the patch bay here, the vocals that are on the distressor here, they also have the Empress EQ in it for a little top boost. And as you can see, I don't go out from the distressor and then back in and then in the Empress, but I just patched the Empress here in the analog domain. So the vocals gets only one hardware insert, and then I build my chain through the Flock, through the patch bay in the analog world. So again, we don't do multiple passes. Now, the last thing, the last question, a lot of people say, like, I have only 8 in and out in my interface. How do I do it? Because now I have, let's say, 10 channels of analog gear, like, which would be only 5 stereo pieces if we look at it that way. Well, you need more channels. In this studio, I have 60 physical analog in and outs, which are still less than how much hardware I have, but I can get away with it because, like I said, some chains, like the 2-bus, there are daisy chained together. So there's 4 pieces that are always there. And then everything else is handled through the patch bay. I also use the patch bay, the Flock, to switch from my mixing rig to my mastering rig. So there's a lot of pieces that are on the Flock, so I can move them to my mastering rig, again, without doing multiple passes, because especially for mastering, you want to do one single pass, and that's it. And so all the machines that I need for, or that I could need for mastering, are all of them on the Flock, like the 825 EQ, or the multiband, or the 670, the 2BQ, and my 2-bus usually is always there. Whether I use everything or not, I want the option through the patch bay to bring it in, to bring every piece. And also, the patch bay handles the sequence. Sometimes I want the compressor before the EQ, the saturator in between, at the end, first. I can do all this through the patch bay, but the point is I still need physical IOs. If not as many analog channels you have, so if you have a total of 12 channels of compressors, you need 12 ins and outs. If you have, like me, 70 channels, you need at least 60 physical in and outs. And then through the patch bay, you can move the routing, you can say presets and get away with a little less if you don't want total freedom to put everything anywhere, which most likely you don't, nobody does. And one last question that pops up often is how do I handle latency? Well, the DAW handles latency. When you mix in hybrid, you calculate on Pro Tools, you have to do it manually, you calculate the delay, the latency that every ADDA trip adds, and you input the number. I have a video on how to do this on the channel. And once you've done that, you're set. The DAW will automatically compensate for the delay. So there's no latency. You can use everything either in insert or in parallel with no phase problems whatsoever. And some other DAWs do that automatically. They have a ping function, and so you don't even have to worry about it. But one thing is important in Pro Tools. Unfortunately, you need to calculate the latency for each sample rate. So if I mix a 48, there's a certain amount of latency. If I mix an 88, there's a certain amount of latency which is different, and so on. And this is not a big deal because you can save the profile and in the IO tabs, and you just load it when you change sample rate. It would be nice if Pro Tools would do it automatically, but for now, once you calculate it the first time, you just recall it and you're set. And I think this is it for this video. If you guys have more questions about hybrid mixing, hardware insert, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like. Visit the new website, mixbusstv.com, to book mix and mastering with me and to get all the mix and mastering courses. The new one is available, producing and mixing vocals. If you want to access the exclusive videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixPlusTV member, get all the perks. If the videos are helping you, you want to support the channel, consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.